Hello, dear ones. I hope you're doing well today. Hey, have you been working on your shadow lately? This whole business about shadow work is very much up. I don't think I know anybody who's not, well, that's not true, but most people I know, they are very aware of their shadow piece and how that keeps getting in their way, keeps sucking them back. So the other day, I heard somebody use the term a light shadow. And it doesn't mean like your shadow is a little more gray than dark. It actually means to have a shadow where you are hiding your light. You're afraid to show your light, your divinity. Because when we have the regular shadows, it's because we're trying to hide things about ourselves that we are ashamed of because it's not spiritual, it's not loving. You know what I'm talking about. We all have them until we get so tired of them that it's just exposing them is like no big deal because you're not ashamed of not being perfect anymore. But then there is the light shadow. And I know that I have had a light shadow for a long time that I have been aware of. And I do believe I have shared some of that a long time ago. I'll put the link here if I can find it. And that was really a deep fear of actually owning the fact that I am the divine. I am divine. I am love. I am God. Do I dare say that? Because that is the truth of who we are, isn't it? It's not the truth of that separate self called Pernilla who took off to try and figure out this world on her own. And you know, we've all done it. There's a reason that we wanted to try that experience, and it didn't go so well, I think. But so that's not what I'm saying. I am God. No, not her. She is actually not God because she has turned away from God and is trying to be separate and an individual and does not want or need the energy and the connection to our true source. So, but the light shadow, no. So when I was talking about I am, I am God. It is my true I am presence, which is something we have turned away from it, but when you turn towards it, and I'll put a meditation here also for you to drop into that experience. That I am, you've heard it in the Bible, right? I am that I am. And Nisargadatta, he has a book called I Am That. So starting to realize who I am is one thing. It's a long journey for most of us. But then to own that, if you're not in some kind of a title as a spiritual teacher or somebody enlightened or something, they can just be it, I guess, because their separate sense of self is so not there that there's nothing to hide about their light. For me, it's been different because I still had some pieces that I wanted to hide, and I still have. I think talking about it for me is always good because it's kind of exposing what is still here, and in that, it's I'm just bringing light to it, and then there's nothing to hide. But what is a light shadow? That is our fear of being God or being divine or being pure love, whatever it is. There's a big fear in showing that. And that's why you notice sometimes when people maybe share something beautiful about themselves, there's usually a like, oh, it's not okay to talk about that because it also goes under the category of boasting or what is it? Tooting your own horn, I think it's called, right? And that's not allowed. You are supposed to be down there, suppress yourself down, hide your light, and be like everybody else who is not good enough, unlovable, not very divine, not very spiritual. That's what we have lived as if that's true. And you know, the thing is, that is what we have done, not just to ourselves, but we have done and are doing it to each other still. So when somebody has some light coming out and start sharing it, you can be sure that there's going to be many people, many outlets, many, maybe news outlets or something. If somebody shows up as who they truly are, there's going to be a lot of pressure. There's going to be a lot of pushing and trying for those people to tone it down. Yeah, tone it down, right? Get off your high horse. It's not allowed here. It wasn't allowed here. But we're going to make it so that it's okay to do that again. And one way of doing it that I find really valuable, and which I also offer in my monthly online gathering and other places, is to create a place where we actually practice, maybe just speaking, like it can be anything. It can be speaking, I am pure love, and not have anybody in the group put you down, but more like celebrating it and maybe adding to it. Yeah. Then we start feeling safe in being who we are. So the shadow piece is, what is it? We are hiding our light under a bushel, right? We don't need to do that anymore. And it's actually interesting that that is in the Bible. Do not hide your light under a bushel, I think it goes. So there is something about that has been going on for eons. And, guys, let's agree. Let's not do that anymore. Also, don't just go and toot your horn amongst people who still believe that that's not okay, because that's just, it's pointless. It's not going to make you feel, oh my God, I really feel seen today. Wow, I'm so glad I shared that with these people. It's going to make you feel awful, and it's going to make you go down even deeper and hide it more. So, how about we start a movement where we are not going to hide our light anymore, where the light shadow that we have is now going to be exposed amongst other like-hearted souls who are aware of this too. And we decide that we are going to support each other in not doing that anymore. Instead, we are going to celebrate that part of ourselves. It's like normalizing it. When you walk out as pure innocence, pure love, pure God, whatever. And when we do that, there's an energy that starts radiating out because we are not suppressing it anymore. And that's why I find it would be wonderful if more of us get together in smaller groups, or you can certainly come to my monthly gathering online. You can also reach out to me and ask if we can do more of them on different days, because not everybody can do it on that Tuesday morning where I do it here in California, because there really is a need for that. And it is because so many of us, we are aware that the world that we experience through our senses, see, hear, taste, touch, and smell, and think about, that is over. Many people, and I'm so grateful for all of you who have commented on some of my recent videos, are really expressing, like, it's just, it doesn't taste good anymore. There's nothing in it that I want. It's like it feels flat, and that is how it is for so many, that this world is becoming flat, and it's almost like the light is going out of it. And that's why we are not attracted to it anymore. It feels like we're kind of done with it now. But what do we do now? We are used to being this, hiding our light business. But this is also the time for this light to come out. It's like we are going to create this new earth, this new paradigm that has nothing to do with the old, but it still needs our light, because this one is going to be built out of light, out of your light and mine. So we need to bring that into it and start living it. And we do that by being very loving to ourselves, being very receptive to ourselves, bringing this light and love into the parts of us that we have been denying it to for a long, long time. And then the more we do it here, then naturally this light, this love wants to shine out on others. So we share it with others. We start expressing more love. We start allowing more of our light to radiate out, to ooze out, my favorite term, and to touch other people. And it's like giving them permission also to shine their light. And I'm just reminded now, I think it's about a week ago, I did a YouTube here called Love Notes. I can't remember exact title, but it's about love notes, where a small group of friends and we went out to town and we offered people love notes. And what we wrote on them was, we just tuned into them for a moment, and then we felt the sweetness, the goodness, the beauty in them. And then we would write it on a heart-shaped piece of paper, and then we would give it to them and read it to them. And it's like it brought something out. It's like, oh, wow, because we hide that beauty. And we're like saying, no, it's right here. I can feel it. I can see it. Does this resonate with you? And they go, yes, So it's a beautiful way to do that, to really let that out and see it in others and share it with others. So how are you doing with your light shadow, if you have one? If you are a light worker, I guarantee you that you have one, and that you have been terrified of showing your light, that you have been living small, pushing yourself down, even though inside you're this explosion almost of light, and it is coming out, but it can come out a lot more when we stop hiding it. So, do you relate to this at all? And if you do, please share in the comments. This is a beautiful conversation that needs to be had. These are the things that we need to talk about. And as I'm sharing it now, I remember I did do a video, which will be up here, that you can click on. That was exactly about that, because I had run into something where I really realized, like, oh my God, somebody is totally acknowledging my light. And what do I do with it? Oh, I just ignored it. It was like, I don't think he said that. And then when I heard that years later, actually, it was on a recording, I'm like, what? Wow, I did that well. I just completely dismissed it. Didn't remember he told me this. And so I really had to look at that. What am I doing here? And then when I heard the light shadow term the other day, I want to just bring it up again, because I know you're probably doing that. And the invitation is to not do that anymore, to really start honoring your own light, your own beauty, start really feeling, the love that is inside of you, because it's there, even though it may be covered with sadness and fear and protection. Because one time when you showed it, or many times when you showed it, it was like pressed down, or you might have been killed in previous lifetimes, or shamed, or whatever. We all have gone through that. And that's of course why light workers are like, well, I let a little ray out, just a tiny ray, but that's about it. And we don't want to do that anymore. now we want to get together with like-hearted friends or peers or souls, wherever you can connect with them and say, hey, are you open to a little experiment here? Should we get together and where we start sharing what we know that's good about ourselves and start sharing it and let the other people really receive it, right? It's like, yes, I see that in you and I see more in you. Would you like to hear what else I see, right? As opposed to the old one, who do you think you are? I mean, come on, that's why we do this. So now we're going to turn it around, and everybody just needs to enjoy it or actually feel moved to do this because they want to be seen too, and they also want to see you. It's just, there's just been this matrix veil nonsense that has stopped us from doing that by telling us that we're tooting our horn. Who do you think you are? Nobody cares about you, whatever it is, all that nonsense. So let's break that nonsense. Let's bring in the light, let it shine, and share it with others. Share what you see in others and receive it. Because once we receive it, it starts growing more. Because then we're not contracting around it. It's like permission granted, right? Permission granted to shine beautiful light.